What movie has the best twist? The first time watching Fight Club is way up there for me. Edit, thank you for the awards. Psycho. It starts out being about a woman on the run with a suitcase full of money and then turns into a completely different movie a third of the way in. I absolutely love that they built the marketing around Janet Leigh. The movie quickly established her as the protagonist only to kill her off 20 minutes in. Brilliant move. Same thing with Drew Barrymore in Scream. Probably that way as an homage to Psycho, really, since the whole movie is references to the horror movies before it. Drew Barrymore specifically asked to play that character instead of the lead, Sydney, that they wanted her for. Wes Craven loved the idea, probably because yes, it would have a very similar effect as Psycho. I hear that when Empire Strikes Back and Vader tells Luke who he truly is, that everyone just absolutely lost their minds. I didn't truly believe it until Return of the Jedi came out. Fun fact, a child psychologist advised George Lucas that Yoda would need to confirm the fact that Vader was Luke's father, because kids would not believe it coming from a villain. The Usual Suspects. The greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world he didn't exist. Memento. Shawshank Redemption, when Andy doesn't come out for head count and you wonder if he finally offed himself because he couldn't take it anymore, only to find out he dug a freaking tunnel with a rock hammer. The whole how he done it and walking into the bank sequence is one of the best feel-good cinematic experiences I have ever had. Same here. One of my very favorite scenes from any movie is the end, that overhead shot of Red and Andy on the beach in Mexico. That ending was an idea of one of the producers, who thought the written ending, which was the same as the book, ending on Red's trip on the bus to find Andy, was too Satan conclusive. Frank Darabont really didn't want to do it and had to have his arm twisted into doing so. It's one of those rare instances where the studio notes were absolutely right. Till something new about my favorite movie. Thanks. Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Nobody expected it to end like that, in all honesty. Primal Fear with Richard Gere and Ed Norton. The whole act like a man thing. I knew what you wanted. It was like we were dancing, Marty. So there never was a Roy. That's what you think? No, there never was an Aaron, counselor. This is a very dangerous comment section. That aside, Shutter Island. Exactly what I came for. First time I watched Shutter Island, I was so floored. I watched it twice. The second time it was like watching a different movie. Cabin in the Woods. I laughed so hard at the motorcycle jump. The ding of the elevator doors. Troop leader, oh shit. Pure chaos. Fantastic scene. The unicorn got me. Dude, I love the unicorn. In all the old tales they are the protectors of the woods, not just some strange set dressing. They have a horn for a reason. The Prestige is one of my favorites too. Edit, wow, this is my most liked comment now, thanks. I'm glad I found more people that appreciate this gem. The Mist. The ending was terrible, but in a good way, like the twist was heartbreaking, but it was so good. This was one of the rare twists that actually surprised me. And man, did it duck me up. Didn't the director fight the studio to keep the ending? It is ballsy. I mean, there's dark, and then there's, goddamn. Even Stephen King was like, damn bro, I wish I had written an ending this dark. Orphan was pretty ducked up. It pisses me off because on the NZ Netflix they give away the twist in the film summary. Hashtag X200B, I mean. Come on, spoiler. This reminds me of when I read the book Ender's Game, long before the movie. It was a later printing and that back cover said it's just a game. Or is it? Duck you, back cover designer. Parasite. The scene where that maid tried to get into that secret basement just turned the movie upside down. That was so unexpected. I read an interview with the director where he wanted the movie to take a sharp 90-degree turn from comedy to horror-esque right at the halfway point, when Redacted rings the doorbell. After watching it, it's true and so awesome. Yeah, the doorbell rings, I think within a couple seconds of the exact halfway point in the movie's runtime. 10 Cloverfield Lane. I love this movie and it's sometimes a hard watch for me because John Goodman behaves exactly like my father, and his performance is both terrifying and incredible, but the whole film is phenomenal and the ending was like, Amgwat. The great thing about 10 Cloverfield Lane is that eventually, you stop thinking about the initial reason why they are in the bunker, but rather focus on the story about two persons stuck with a psychopath. However, they seriously could have called the film anything else and you wouldn't have even known it was a Cloverfield movie until the very end. Up until the ending, everything plays out like your typical taken in by a person who turns out to be crazy trope. Fun fact, they were supposed to be literally any other movie. They didn't originally build it to be a Cloverfield movie, just like the space one, they just adapted them to be Cloverfield movies later in development. Cloverfield Paradox originally had a separate plot and was called The God Particle. I can't find the article about 10 Cloverfield Lane, but I believe the original script was supposed to be a movie called The Cellar that they bought and altered to make into a Cloverfield movie. That original script leaked before the movie came out. It is clearly the origin of what would become 10 Centiliters, but is a very different story. You don't find out if the outside threat is real until the end, the gun is kept secret, and John Gallagher's character is much more ambiguous. Therese very few similar plot beats. I think what we ended up getting is a better, more tense movie. Crazy, Stupid Love has not one but two of the best twists ever for a rom-com. I had randomly put it on one night thinking it would be a generic run-of-the-mill comedy, but the setups are so good that those twists come out of nowhere but are still fantastic. I was going to post this, 100% agree. I often bring it up as one of the great twists because it's hiding in plain sight the whole time and you are never looking for it. In a lot of these movies, your eyes are waiting for the twist, but in a rom-com, it allows you to not even know it's coming. It's a very good one. When Emma Stone walked out of the house, my partner and I let out an audible, "Whoa." Like you said, it's not a thriller, you're just not expecting it, so you're completely blindsided. Then everyone proceeds to meet in the next 5 minutes and it's the funniest ducking thing. The Sixth Sense, The Usual Suspects. That guy with the hairpiece. That was Bruce Willis the whole time. Arrival. I loved the twist in Arrival. Watching it start to all come together was awesome. I've never been so emotionally impacted by a twist before. I watched it on a plane, just wanting to watch a sci-fi movie. I did not sign the permission slip for a feels trip. Old Boy. And to clarify for those who haven't watched it, the Korean version, the US version was botched. Moon. Sam Rockwell is amazing in everything, but this one blew me away. Say 7N. The Game with Michael Douglas and Sean Penn. 12 Monkeys. Simply fantastic. From Dusk Till Dawn, I like the transition from normal movie to vampire action. Yeah. It's almost like two completely different movies. My favorite part was when the band, Tito Tarantula, start playing the human instruments. Oh, and Sulma. Always Sulma. Bit out of left field, but I really enjoyed the twist of Vulture being Liz's dad in Spider-Man Homecoming. I remember being in the cinema when Vulture opened the door to Peter and everyone going phew ooh 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 ooh. It was refreshing, as most twists in big budget movies get spoiled way too often these days. I actually like that the Vulture gives him a solid out in that scene. It feels very human? He's not some cartoon villain, he's just making bad choices and is a little too okay with people dying. But you get that he wants to scare but not actually hurt a kid. I like how he thanks Peter for saving his daughter instead of killing him like most villains would. Really helps us understand what kind of person he is. Hot Fuzz. Love that the reason for the murder was just actually trivial things. Yarp. Narp?